Okay, councillors, could I have your attention with Brandon to start?
Second.
First of all, before we start anything, could I welcome all our visitors who are local, who were outside the 2009 protest and who are coming in, and also to our guests who are in the area and one area for the next week from Kiosk in Russia. So you're all very welcome, and we hope you have a good time in the days that you're with us. So, very welcome. Okay, councillors. We start off with item number 1. It's the minutes of the district development meeting on the 16th of February.
Second.
Councillor Keeling. Second, Councillor Burns. Any matters arising?
Sure.
Councillor Casey.
Just on the Health Service Working Group, I know I was present at the meeting in the town hall where we're sort of like organising for the big rally, and I know a couple of decisions were made. They had to leave early. Just what is the plans now, Eddie, going forward, just so that I can keep it right in my head?
Chairman, the plans are that the rally will be happening at 12 o'clock on Saturday, 28th of March in the city centre. A stage has been organised, a band is there. We will be putting out all of the advertisements that have gone into all of the papers. We've had interviews on QFM, and we've had a number of other ideas for the marketing of it. We've also sent a letter to all of the unions, to all of the community groups. And some of the papers, for example, the reporter last week had it on the front page. We will continue between now and the 27th of March to ensure that we market it, and we go around all the schools again, all of the community groups, all of the unions, and make sure that there is a large number there on that day.
Now, just to follow on from that, I know the issue was raised about the platform party, and coming up to elections, there'll be a big clamour to get on the stage. I think we've effectively ruled out, have we, politicians from the platform?
Well, on that day, Chairman, of the meeting, it was agreed that the Mayor of the Council, representative from the unions and a representative from the Neighbourhood Renewal, have an email in from the Neighbourhood Renewal saying that the Chairman of that group will be there on the day. The Mayor will be there, and we are negotiating with the unions and who will be there to represent them. A good idea there would be from somebody from the health side, Chairman. We've also asked an expert on health, who was Dr. Holland, who's a former member of staff. And we're waiting on the reply as to whether or not he will be available on that day.
Yeah, I was there when the Neighbourhood Renewal decision was taken. I'm a delegate to that particular forum. It happened in the Win just at the back end of last week, when it was decided that the chair of that, who's Jerry Coyle, as you know, yeah, he'll be speaking on behalf of the 9 Neighbourhood Renewal areas.
That's it, Chair. Councillor Feely.
Councillor Quinn was in first. Then I'll take you, Councillor Feely. Councillor Quinn.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Along with that meeting, the promotion for the rally, could the councillors have that in email so they can carry it on their Facebook sites as well? And is there any chance that among the spokespeople for the stage party, that a representative from South Armagh and from the Mourns could be included in that in some way?
Chairman, that is a decision for the council. I can only quote what was said at the meeting in the town hall, where it was agreed there would only be 3 or 4 speakers. If it is a decision for the council tonight that they want somebody from South Down and South Armagh, that is really up for the councillors today, Chairman. Chairman, also on the issue of the Facebook page was issued the following morning, and it had over 5,000 hits in the first day, but I'd arranged for that to be circulated.
Councillor Feely.
Chair, there was no decision that there be no politics or no politicians on the stage. That was not taken. In fact, it was contradicted by a number of speakers, including myself. It is a political decision by the Health Board, by the Minister Stormont, and it's vital that there are politicians on the stage. Absolutely vital, and particularly those who have put in an awful lot of work into it over the last year, over the last 6 months, and over the last 6 years. So I think that's totally necessary, because really at the end of the day it is a completely political decision by both the Health Trust and by the Minister of Stormont. So we must have politicians there. It's no use putting people on there that the public don't know and have no affiliation with, and wonder where the others who have been doing all the writing about it and the publicity about it, where are they?
Chairman, again, we can only go by the recommendation that was made at the Health Service.
That recommendation was not made, it was not carried. Chair, I was there, it was not carried. And it was a stupid, crazy
Councillor Feely, do you want to
recommendation.
allow Councillor Patterson to give information?
There was chairman on the day, there was a feeling in the council, in that particular meeting on last Monday, that it would be wrong to have a number of politicians on the platform, particularly when it was coming up to election time. And there was a proposal and a seconder at that meeting and agreed that there be no politicians on the platform. Because it was, Chairman, if you looked at the minutes.
Local politicians are not interested in
Chairman, can I finish?
elections
Chairman,
coming up.
can I finish?
Interested in the future of Daisy Head and interested in the
Chairman, it
future
was
of
agreed
Scotland.
because-
And the people that know anything
Right.
about it are sitting here. I'm one of them, he's another one, and there's probably one or two others. And that's all it is. Because the
Councillor
rest of
Feely,
them
it's
didn't
coming back
study.
from the rest of the councillors that the decision on non-day was not to have
It wasn't.
political members, and it's in the report.
There was no decision.
Councillor Patterson,
Show me the minutes and show me the numbers that voted for
it's in
it.
your agenda.
There was no vote taken. There was
Okay.
not.
Do you want to add to that, Chuck, or Jackie?
The reason why, I was the person who raised it.
Sorry, because one of his colleagues showing your next is that it?
Everybody knows that.
Chairman, it was agreed on the day, I proposed it because it was coming up to election times and I was at a number of sporting facilities within the last number of weeks and there was politicians outside sporting facility gates promoting their parties or their view for coming up to the elections. So I thought it was the right idea that people wouldn't be taking this opportunity. It's a public meeting for the public. We've had a number of meetings in this council chamber. The councils were represented, politicians have been represented over this last 6 or 8 months. This particular protest and march is for the public, for the people of the whole of Newry and more and beyond that.
Councillor Feely, there's someone speaking.
The speakers will be from the unions, from somebody representing the hospital, somebody from the communities, and the mayor will be there. So, Chairman, if one politician has to get on, then there'll be 20 politicians in one government. Who decides what politician goes on?
Well, at least the MPs.
Councillor Feely, if you want to speak, will you raise your hand and I'll bring you in?
Well, I think, Chairman, I put in...
Sorry, Jackie, you've made your point.
Well,
I'm speaking
the
on
point is
board.
just to answer that particular
Well, if
point.
you want to answer Jackie, the two of you...
No, I'll give you this. If there's any politician goes on, then Newry wouldn't be entitled to go on.
Councillor Patterson, Councillor Feely, how long? Councillor McKee, you were looking in.
No, but I haven't finished, Chair. I mean,
Yeah,
interrupted.
but right, you had finished a long time ago on Councillor Patterson.
I wasn't
Councillor
finished,
McKee.
Chair. No, fairness. Like.
Will you give way to Councillor
I
Patterson?
didn't give
You
it.
did. Councillor McKee, you want to go ahead?
Chairman, just, I was at the Downpatrick protest, if you like, and certainly the councillors were not allowed on stage, they were allowed beside the stage, but in fact, there was an area along different sections, we're all sectioned off, and there was an area for councillors. There was maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20 councillors all walking along, so obviously the councillors are expected to be there.
You're
May not on
expected to be
stage.
there, but not actually take part on the
stage.
platform.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay, yeah.
Councillor Feely.
Yeah, I want to propose, Chair, that at least the two MPs for the area are, for Newry and Armagh, for Southdown, are on the stage and allowed to speak. That's the proposal, Chair. And I'm also saying that I want this council to seek legal advice from a barrister that has experience in medical affairs about the legality of closing down the stroke unit, because on the 27th of November last year, the Southern Trust took a decision that they wanted a new hospital and they wanted 4 million for it. They never held a public inquiry and they never had an equality assessment, so therefore it's illegal. But I want proof that it is before, as quickly as we can get it from a barrister, Chair. I am proposing that as well.
Is there anybody to second Councillor Feely's proposal?
Yeah, I second it.
Thanks, Chair. You have some sense.
That's contrary to the decision already taken by council that no political representatives would be on stage, so...
There's far too much personal jealousy in this. This was about the whole lot of
Sorry, Councillor Feely,
communities coming together to save Daisy Hill. That's what it's supposed to be about. Not about personal personalities.
because
If we start picking and choosing what politicians can participate, we're going down a very slippery slope. You're sitting in a situation at the minute, Councillor Feely, and I remind you of this, that there's the MPs from the two areas, there's no unionists involved.
Well, that's too bad.
Well, no, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, Councillor Feely. I'm sorry. You can't start picking and choosing. This is an issue which affects the whole community. It isn't an issue which affects one party or another, and one party or another should not be trying to gain some political advantage. Chair, I propose that we accept the recommendations as they stand, and that no political party are given a platform to use this.
Have we a seconder?
I'll second
that. Councillor Larkin will second that. Okay, it's a straight show of hands.
Chairman, can I ask a question? Chairman, it was just, we've listened to management in this case, and we doubt the word of management. I would be very grateful, Chairman, if we could get access to the actual clinicians, the physiotherapists, all those people who will be administering the treatment to help stroke victims recover. Because I would like to hear from them, not from management and not from lay people. And I absolutely agree with David Taylor. This isn't about arrogant politicians promoting their wares. It's about what's good for the community.
Chairman, on the night of the public meeting, there was a former consultant who advised on the benefits of the stroke unit remaining here. We have asked for him to speak on the 20th of March, and he spoke at length on that night.
Yeah, Chairman, a former consultant, I appreciate that, but I would like to actually speak to current employees in the Health Trust, if that is possible. Maybe under the rules you're not allowed to do that, but certainly I would like to speak to those people. And that we could ask.
Chairman, the Health Services Working Group met with the consultants, met with the Chief Executive of the Trust, and with the Head of the Medical Services here to debate this in full.
Yeah, but they are all pen pushers in fairness to them. I would like to actually speak to the actual people who administer the treatment, if possible.
They were also there on that night.
Sure.
On mass.
Okay, councillors, we're putting it to a vote. Councillor Taylor has proposed that we accept the recommendation from the committee meeting, and seconded by Councillor Larkin.
Chairman, just as right, Chairman, you've had a proposal from Councillor Feely, seconded by Councillor. This is an amendment I oppose, but the amendment is a direct negative, therefore it is just by a show of hands. You're either for or against the political individuals being on.
Two different issues. Two different issues.
But one is to support the proposal from the Health Services, which if they don't, this proposal is that they do.
Sorry, Chair, can I ask, does this include Councillor Feely's proposal to get a legal opinion?
No, I'm taking that as a second.
That's okay.
That's very much.
I will try to ask for that without.
You aren't. No, Chairman, it's a direct yes or no, Chairman. You're either for political individuals being on the stage, with the exception of the Mayor on the night, or you're not.
I only said two political.
Yeah, well,
one from each party, and
that's
if
why
you want one from unionism, take one.
So, Chairman, a show of hands, those who are in favour of further political attendance on the stage on the rally on the 20th of March, could you put your hands up?
Yeah.
3, Chairman. Those against? 24. Any abstentions? 1 abstention, Chairman.
I am just amazed that politicians voted against themselves. It must be unique in the history of politics all over the world. And it's absolutely crazy decision, Chair. And that's trying to save a hospital. What sort of people are we?
Second amendment, Councillor Feely.
Chairman, on the proposal of Councillor Feely, seconded by Councillor Feehan, it was recommended that we seek legal advice from a barrister with expertise on the health matters regarding the closure of the stroke unit. Those in favour of that, Chairman?
You don't have to put that to a vote. Everybody, you don't, Chair. It was never put to a vote. Everybody that ever asked on a point of order for
what's your point of order?
Advice is given here. Every single council, individual council that ever asked for legal advice got it. And I'm asking for legal advice on a very, very major issue. Chair, you mightn't support it. I don't know whether you do or not. But
it was carried.
It's carried, Frank. The vote's carried.
Chairman, to the advice of the Councillor Feely is heard. This is
I
a
know,
rule.
all I know is the first meeting that was held in this council, Chair. The only speaker was me.
Chairman.
No one else had anything to say.
This is illegal advice. This is the standing orders of council. When a proposal is put to the council and seconded, the proposal is put to the floor. It is unanimous, therefore it is carried.
Progress, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
councillors, well, trying that.
Sorry, Chair, I didn't get in there at the beginning with apologies. Apologies for Councillor Declan McAteer.
Any other apologies?
Conor McGregor. Oh, he's there outside. We must be outside.
One or there?
No, he's there.
Okay. Item number 3, to consider the motion, following motion in the name of Councillor Brendan Byrne that Newry Mourne District Council calls on the Newry Mourne and Down Shadow Council to reverse its decision to evict our town's swimfit and Elsall swimming schools from the new swimming pool, which has resulted in the loss of 22 part-time jobs and the closing of 2 small companies which cannot be replaced in our district. These workers' plight is supported by Unite Union Europe.
Chairman, for the advices of the council officials took legal advice on this, and Chairman, under paragraph 17 of the Code of Conduct for the councillors, Chairman, it is stated very clearly that if there is a pecuniary interest to the member who has brought forward the proposal, they can bring forward a proposal, they can't be involved in the debate, and they can't be involved in the recommendation at the end of it or on the vote note. Therefore, the legal advice, Chairman, is very clear that the motion could well have legal implications for the council and for councillors. The council should be warned of the legal advice that has been given on this matter and also the views of senior officials. The chairman of the meeting has the right to rule whether or not the motion shall be debated by the meeting, and the chairman's ruling on this matter will be the final under the council standing order. The advice from the council official, Chairman, is to adhere to the legal advice.
Councillor Curran, you want to come in there?
Yeah, Chair. First of all, I'd like to welcome the group here tonight, particularly the children. The children in the group who wasn't going to be allowed into this room tonight because there wasn't enough seats. And I find that appalling, that ratepayers and their children and our future was not going to be allowed into the meeting here tonight. So that's the first thing, Chair. I asked for this motion to be brought forward to this council nearly 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, Brendan, you want to comment on the comments that Eddie's made to you?
No.
No. Well then, as chair of the committee, due to...
Chair, this is all part, Chair, this is all part,
and...
Well, Chair, I'm not putting the motion. You need to listen what I'm saying and never mind what he's saying in your ear. You need to listen what I'm saying and what I'm representing. And I have not moved the motion. And as a councillor, I am entitled to speak in this chamber. And I will speak on behalf of these children here. Now, if you want to overrule me, then you do that and do it at your peril and anybody else who wants to stand in elections representing your party. Because these people have the right to be heard. Now, I raised this motion nearly 2 weeks ago. 3:45 today, Eddie Curtis rang me and told me of this great legal tangle. And the motion, which I can't address because of the legal advice, wasn't talking about giving people jobs, it was just talking about reversing the decision. And I'm allowed to ask that, and so is the councillors here. But what was shocking was, Chair, the information used was from an interview I had for a job in this council as a private individual. This council breached my human rights and data protection and took out information which came out as a result, not of what I wrote on my application form for this job, but from a conversation which simply stated that whenever SwimFit had someone sick, I covered. Not that I worked for them, I covered. I didn't say why I was remunerated for it or whatever. But our council shamefully went into mine. And here it is in writing. I contacted our solicitor, Paul O'Kane, who refused to speak to me as a councillor. I said, Paul, I want to know what is our council's data protection policy. I'm not talking to you about this, he said. I think this is stinking. That I, as a private individual, goes for a job with this council, and this council uses this information against me to get at these people here. Somebody has something to hide about all this. Because some of the councillors here talk about the swimming pool mafia. And I'll show you the texts. They talk about the swimming pool mafia. And try to downgrade what the swimming teachers are. And they mention names. And I'll mention them here in this chamber. They talked about the O'Hagans and they talked about the O'Hanlons. An absolute scandal. And there are workers, all to downgrade, to try and continue what is fair and honest for these people.
So I'm not talking to the motion. I'm talking about the swimming lessons these children have been denied. Because our council, for some reason, conveniently got rid of these two companies. And yes, my son does work for them. And do you know what? There's him there. He's a student in Queen's University studying psychology, hopefully to do clinical psychology, to come back into our district and to help the sick people in our area. He's paying for his course. He can't get benefits, and that was the only income that lad who wants to help our community had. And our councillors shafted him and all those children. And I think it's a disgrace. Is there something I should be ashamed of? That here is a lad who's prepared to go out and work, to get a couple of quid, 2 nights a week, to help pay to get up and down to Belfast, because there's no other means. He can't get benefit. And then I heard other councillors, Charlie, talking about cash in hand and all the rest of it. Absolutely shameful to make assertions about what people earn or how they don't earn it. I just wonder what's going on with all of this and where the political parties are. Because my wife, on behalf of my son, tried to contact the mayor. She's still waiting on it. She's still waiting on this information he was to get. She rang and emailed most of the councillors around here. I wonder how many got back to them. But leave us out of it. How many people actually contacted the children, the parents, or the workers in the pool to see what was their version? Because I spoke to the new clerk of the council, and he said to me in exasperation, Brendan, like, how could we justify allowing a swimming school to have a slot in the middle of the day? And my answer to him was, the slot in the middle of the Saturday from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock lay empty from the day and hour that swimming pool opened, because that was lunchtime. And some of our council workers said to our council, do you know what, we could take that slot and we could help teach people to swim. And do you know what, maybe some people could get a few quid out of it as well. Provide work. You know, one of these small enterprises our council prides itself on. The other club, who I can't mention because I'm supposed to have a vested interest, which I haven't worked for or got paid for working for since 2010, but would play the game, they just are playing the legal game. They took on a slot from 5 o'clock on a Saturday and a Sunday night when our pool is lying closed and using up energy and money, and was giving us money for doing it. Brilliant. I passed it Sunday night and Saturday night, and it's locked, chained up. These children could have been in it swimming, getting their lessons. Local people, like my son and other people's sons, cross community, could have been getting their classes as lifeguards and getting an earning as employees. Our council stopped all that, based on false information. And the other thing they said was, they're making a fortune. And I challenged the clerk of the council, go and look at any one of the CCTV over this past 30 days and tell me who's making a fortune. They're barely scraping enough to pay the pool hire. And your party colleagues decided on the basis of rumour. This was convenience to get people out of this. And as I said, Chair, I mean, our council, myself and Eddie Curtis, we travelled the world telling about how many small and medium enterprises our area had. We were the best. And here we snuffed out 2 of them for no good reason. One of the other things the clerk says, he says, you know, we can't justify handing over a council building, a big shiny new building, to a third party. And my answer to that was, could we not put on a manager, open and close the door? Could we not get a supervisor? And these decisions, some of you were there for them, were made behind doors. Secret meeting, went into committee so as nobody, the public, could hear what happened. Shameful. And all the people got was a decision. But part of that decision, Chair, has ramifications for every single community centre, community hall and council building. And I have it here on the phone, the conditions, which is going to be handed out to the swimming teachers, the ones that didn't get executed or evicted from the pool. People like myself who can register for the council to be a swimming teacher Monday to Friday, every week, every month. And instead of me getting the money from the client, what's going to happen now is the council's going to get the money. And then they're going to give the swimming teacher their share of the money, or what the council thinks is their share of the money, which certainly won't be what the member of the public was going to give them. And on top of that, they have to register for HRMC, which is dead on. If that's the case, then we need to do that with every single judo class, karate class, and then importantly, Chair, all these children's school classes, the ones that opens the 3 ways. So we're handing over our council building to them to open the 3 ways, and every other community centre to private enterprises, because that's what they are. They're not voluntary groups. They're private enterprises, and they're making money the same as SwimFit and El Sol is. So boys and girls who made the decision, it would hit every single group in their district, because that's what equality is about. Because we can talk about equality and all the rest of it. See, unless it's equal and fair to everyone, what happened in Newry Swimming Pool must happen in the 3 ways and every other single community association throughout our district, because that's what fairness and equality is. Because we can't stop handing over a building over there and not do it in the rest of them. And I mean, this was a generator for the council, and that was one of the other things. You know, we're only getting so much. Did they ask, would they raise the price? No. This was just a vehicle convenience. And the sad thing was, here's the victims here. That's all the victims. Because there was losers in this. As I said, I passed the pool the other night and it slapped. So the parties need to just start napping their heads together, because there's an election coming up soon. And the amount of people and the groundswell of opinion, despite all this party stuff, you know, put up how great the pool is great. Brilliant. But not at the cost of jobs and not at the cost of lessons, because let's look at that. Another one of the things is, and Mickey yourself, you said it, you know, these services should be kept in council, and the council will grab all these swimming classes and provide them. No, they can't. Has anybody taken a look at the size of the learner pool down there? You won't even be able to provide the existing classes because it's too small. And people thought Brenton Corn was being grumpy because he complained that when he was down there, the wee pool is too small. Brenton Corn's a swimming teacher and a lifeguard, and I know what's possible down there. So members of the public are now going to be debarred from getting a proper swim up and down, because we're going to have to incorporate all these ones. Because there's no room in the wee learner pool. We're going to have to move them all into the big pool. There's going to be years of a waiting list. People's going to go to other districts. These schools were teaching people lifeguarding skills. They were teaching people to learn how to swim, who then became our customers, because they're only going to go over the pool if they can't swim. They're only going to go over the pool to learn to swim. They can't learn to swim if there's no lessons, and there's no sense because they're not all fit in. And then the other thing is we changed how many children you can take into the pool. Instead of you going over with your 2, 3, 4 children, you're only allowed to take 2 children now. Do you rent the other 2 out, or do you rent somebody in? Is that private enterprise to look after 2 children that you're not allowed? I think this council's all over the place, and I think the parties just need to stop looking at Brenton Corn being connected to these people, because I really think that's what this comes down to. Once again, the dog warden service, you've kicked me out of it. The community wardens, you've kicked me out of it. Somebody told Charlie at a minibus, and Charlie went, not getting any work with this council, but. So I know what your wee agenda is. That's dead on. But don't be punishing these people here. Because they're the people that vote for you. They're the people that pays your wages. So, while I'm not allowed to address this question, why didn't I consult with these people? At least talk to them and say, listen, how can we do this? How can we raise the price? How can we let somebody open the building and close the building for you, instead of just kicking them out? 20, and in El Sol's case, 30 years we had a relationship. There never has once been a single complaint about the activities or the way those people conducted their business. But yet, this council, who prides itself on all these small and medium-sized enterprises, we just kicked them straight out on the street. And as a result, these people, and many of them with disabilities. And all right, they were caught short trying to hike the prices up for the old pensioners and the sick and the people in benefits. But you think you can just steamroll on with this? I think you need to think about it again. And if you want the schools to redesignate themselves as swimming clubs, well then let them do that. But why should that pool, let's talk to the auditor, why should that pool lie empty, using the same heat and chemicals on a Sunday and a Saturday night, when this council and our ratepayers could be taking advantage of it? So, while I can't address it, but I will be addressing this legal letter, because I think this council has just gone too far. It has delved into Brenton Corn, and the 3 people who took the interview, I'll be talking to the solicitor about them, because they're there to ensure that my private information is not used by this council, and they've breached my human rights. They've used private, in fact I was told, don't you be going out and telling those other candidates of what tests and what questions we asked you. I didn't know anything anyway, so I couldn't tell them. But yet they can go out and tell the town. Charlie Casey's daughter could say on Facebook that I get a job in the swimming pool. How did he know that? Because I didn't tell anybody. So either the council told them, or somebody broke into their files or their drawers, because I didn't tell anybody. And yes, I do have a job. And you know what? That's not a crime. The same as my son working for SwimFit. If that's a vested interest, I'll go with that. But to tell you at 3:45, whenever they said in this letter, they knew from the 11th of March, there's dirty dealing going on here. And you just need to find out who's at it.
No comment on it.
Just only after.
Tender report, number 4, tender report to appoint a contractor to provide a new 3G drainage pitch and associated works for Valley Rangers and Bannerland Community Association.
Tender report, the tenders have been assessed against the great criteria, they recommend the best value.
Chairman, you don't allow those councillors in who want to speak on that issue. You censor them.
I'm not censoring anyone.
But you refuse to let Councillor Patterson in. I think I'm delighted that this has been recorded.
Okay, item number 5, report of the Economic Development Committee meeting on Wednesday, the 4th of March.
Proposed, Chairman.
Proposed, Councillor Hurley.
Second, Chair.
And Councillor Casey, any monitor item? No. You?
Sure, just on the fishing thing, Caleb, on page 4. Do we know, obviously there's going to be a couple of competitions, course fishing competitions on the canals. Has it been restocked? Will it be restocked?
Chairman, we're working through that with the event organisers, Chairman, and the Locks Agency on that, Chairman.
Because I had been asked today by some fishermen, Chair.
Okay, look into that.
Okay. Item number 6, report of the Integrated Rural Development Committee meeting on Thursday, the 29th of January.
Proposed, Chair.
Proposed, Councillor Hurley. Councillor Flynn, second that. Any matters arising? Yes. Mr. Moffat.
About the price of fertiliser there, Councillor, like a dear rate, is there any word back about that, or?
No, Chairman, no word back.
And will there be word back soon on it, or?
Well, we'll bring it through to, we'll make it deal with the answers when we haven't got a response yet.
Farmers at the minute are just, we'd be starting to buy fertiliser, and it'd be good to make them aware of the price.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So maybe Councillor Casey could give some advice on fertiliser.
Item number 7, report of the Community Sport and Public Works meeting on the 25th of February. Proposed, Councillor Anderson, the seconder.
We'll hear that other stuff. You put it over my name.
Councillor Murphy, any matters arising? Councillors, out of order. Do you want in there?
Yeah, sure. Just to pass on my congratulations to all involved with the Sports Awards last week. The Council provided a fantastic platform to showcase outstanding sporting achievement in our district, so Moishe Vikarja.
That's the report. Number 8 is the report of the Sports Development Executive meeting on the 25th of February. Will be a proposer. Councillor Phelan, will be a seconder for that also. Councillor Murphy, thank you. Number 9, report of the Crop League Councillors meeting the Valley Holding Project on Friday the 13th of March. Copy on the separate cover. I'll be a proposer. Councillor Carr, a seconder. Councillor Fitzpatrick, any matters arising? Thank you. Report of the Arts Museum Committee meeting on the 19th of February, copy enclosed.
Opposed, Chair. Opposed.
Councillor Casey, will be a seconder. Councillor Garden. No matters arising. Number 11, report of the Albert Basin Subcommittee on the 12th of February. I'll be a proposer. Somebody like to propose?
Chair.
12th of February, Albert Basin Subcommittee. Councillor Patterson proposing to be a seconder.
Councillor Feely. Yes, out, Chair.
Councillor Feely, thank you. Number 12, report of the Scrutiny Committee meeting on the Monday the 9th of March.
Proposed, Chairman.
Proposed, Councillor Hurley, will be a seconder for that. Councillor Burns, any matters arising? No. Report of a public meeting, future of stroke services in the southern area on the 26th of February. I'll be circulated. I think we've already dealt that issue tonight. If we have a proposer.
Proposed.
It's going to the final meeting. It's just for noting.
All right.
Okay. Report of the Cropview Councillors meeting with representatives from Warrenpoint Harbour Authority on Thursday the 12th of March. I'll be a proposer for that. Councillor Fiar, second Councillor Fitzpatrick. Thank you. Number 15, report of Newry Townsley Gullion Councillors meeting with representatives from Planning Service Council officials on the 10th of March. I'll be a proposer.
Opposed, Chair.
Councillor Casey, second. Councillor McGrew. Thank you. Number 16, report of the Mourns Councillors multi-agency meeting on the 4th of March. Proposed Councillor Key, seconder, Councillor Burns, thank you. 17, consider a request from Fiddler's Green Festival Committee to use number 16 Square as festival office during their festival. Councillor Burns is proposing that, if you seconder. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Conferences, seminars, events, 2 complimentary tickets available for the Southern Education and Library Board Music Service events. I take it if any.
Number of events here available. Friday the 13th. Saturday the 24th of March, 7:30 in March High School. 1st of April, Megan Raleigh Island Arts Centre.
So you all want to tickets, John? Yep. Is anybody else? Want anyone?
Sorry, the
21st of March.
7:30
Can somebody come back to us if it suits them? And items 19, elected members, Newry Mourne Down and Louth Council is for noting on the report of the Special Leisure Committee meeting on the 22nd of January and number 21 on the 26th of February are both for noting as well. Extra items, number 22, report of the Street Gullion Councillors meeting request for traffic calming measures in Bill. Have a proposer for that?
Opposed, Chair.
Councillor Hurley, seconder. Councillor Donnelly. And then number 23 is a report of the Finance Committee meeting on the 12th of March. Have we a proposer? A proposal, Brandon?
No.
No. Have we a proposal for the Finance meeting?
Oh.
Jarrett and Councillor Byrne, yeah. Brandon?
Yeah, Chair, I want on a point of order, Chair. Seo é má chriniú Dúranach an 8 agus is é seo dúrú do má tourist mark holder. This is my last meeting and it's an end of my journey as a local councillor after 30 years. And I want tonight to inform the council that from 23:59 hours tomorrow night I tender my resignation as a councillor. And I'd like to give a bit of thanks to some people because I've been here for a while. And first of all, I'd like to thank my wife.
Councillor, can we deal with the items on the agenda and then I'll come back?
Okay, no problem.
Report of the Finance, did you want in there, Councillor?
Chairman, it was just could we now get urgent meetings with the Community Development Association regarding the path and also the Ballybay Football Club, if we can have 2 urgent meetings. I know that they're ready and willing to meet any time. Eddie? I propose Finance, Chairman, if you do.
Councillor Reddy proposed, and we'll get back on it. Number 24 then is a conference, agricultural education in the North East. Again, it's in the Dundalk Institute of Technology. If people are willing to go, it's a free of charge event. It's on Friday the 27th of March. And then number 25 is a seminar, All Ireland Forum meeting, and it's in our own council offices here on the 27th of March as well, and it's from 10:30 to 1 free of charge as well. So anybody who wishes to go to either of them 2 events can contact the council and give their names accordingly. Is that okay? Brandon, your issue that you brought up, I wasn't made aware of it, and it's not on the agenda. And as you know, I don't accept chairman's business, so I'm not to bring it in.
Chair, point of order. Chair, point of order. The meeting's not over. I've raised a point of order, and I am legally entitled to resign from this council, Chair. Are you saying I'm not? Am I not allowed? I find your brand of censorship, Chair, is disgraceful for a member of what would be a party who talks about equality, that you want to censor me from standing down as a councillor, Chair. And I want legal advice on that now. So you may get Eddie Curtis in here to see if you're within your legal rights. Because you're wrong. As well as morally, it's despicable. And once again, another attack on Brenton Kern and Brenton Kern's family. Which I expect from you, and it is absolutely despicable. And I look at the races sitting around here, and no wonder you're embarrassed. Because I'd be embarrassed too, Mickey. And I think it's your brand of republicanism which is destroying republicanism in this area. And you can smirk all you want.
I'm not smirking at all.
Well, maybe I must be going blind. But I am legally allowed and entitled to resign.
Well, we'll get opinion on that there first, Brad.
I don't need your opinion, Mickey.
Well, you will.
Standing order says that I can resign if I want.
You will not be speaking.
Mickey, what are you going to do? You're going to put me out? Why don't? Well, then I would speak, Mickey, and then I'd say it.
I would prefer to see somebody get somebody in to put you out, but that won't happen, Brandon.
Well, do you know what, Mickey? At least that would be more, less embarrassing than what you try to do to censor. Absolute disgrace. And I'm delighted. Yes, you are censoring. You're refusing to let me have my say. And it isn't Chairman's business. I'm entitled to resign from this council. And after 30 years, 28 and a half representing the party, making the T-shirt that you wear so shamelessly, and then you refuse me. That's what equality, that's what Sinn Féin's about. This is the equality, this is what you're voting for. And do you know what? Mickey Brady's his representative. So get out and vote for him. It's a disgrace. I've been in this chamber and I've been called a murderer and a killer and a bomber by loyalists. But you know what? You know what? They never stop me from speaking. Yeah, go ahead, Terry Hurdy. Tell them all, the boys and girls, to get out. But I'll read it out for the people that's here, because it'll be embarrassing. And it's shameful that our mayor is away out as well. I just want to thank my wife, who despite the onslaughts and attack on us and our home, stood shoulder to shoulder with me throughout the entire journey. I want to thank my children, who still have to live with the legacy of being the children of a Republican ex-prisoner and a councillor, who had to sleep in their bedrooms with inch-thick plate armour steel on their bedrooms to keep them safe at night. I want to thank the council staff, who sat up in the wee small hours of the council meeting and who helped me. And I want to talk particularly about Paddy O'Hagan, Kevin O'Neill, Thomas McCall, and of late Eddie Curtis, and all the council staff who work in all the wee small offices, who make us councillors as successful as we are and as accountable as we are, and I think that should be paid tribute to them. Life as a councillor, and in particular life as a Sinn Féin councillor, was a very dangerous and difficult place to be. It was also a very lonely place to be. And I often remarked that no matter how packed a room was, because of my brand of politics and because of my unrepentantness, there was always room for me, because people would give you that leper effect and move away from you. I was elected as the first Sinn Féin councillor in Uri in over 70 years. I was the first Sinn Féin chairman. I was the first Republican chair of the local policing committee, and those were groundbreaking and leading our community, and I'm very proud of that. Very importantly, the last 18 months, and it's a pity my Sinn Féin colleagues of the past didn't stay here for this, because they're up their neck in it, as you've seen from Mickey. The last 18 months were particularly difficult for my family and I, where I had no choice but to remove myself from what I call the Newry and South Armagh version of Sinn Féin, a group which has become the property of a small domineering clique controlled by a steak knife character in Sinn Féin, who tries to remove his opposition by the gang mentality. And I, as a whistleblower, raised this issue, and I raised it within the Republican movement. And they came and they visited me and my wife, and they took our opinion. And on the basis of that opinion, they then went and spoke to other people, and they discovered that Brenton Kern was right, that what was going on in the Republican movement in Newry was wrong. So they set about a whole review, and they removed the leadership of the Republican movement in Newry, and they replaced it by a man from Short Strand. They put him in place to try and clear up the Newry situation. For 6 months they tried that, and it didn't work. Back. And as a whistleblower, I then became the victim. And whistleblowers like sex abuse victims, they become the victim. And speaking about sex abuse victims, I raised within Sinn Féin about a paedophile priest who had abused hundreds of our children in this district, in all our schools in this district. And I was told by this steak knife character that that was negative publicity, that I needed to drop that, and we shouldn't be talking about that. That's how Sinn Féin seen it then. And then we talk about the young fella who came out recently, Francie Malloy, made an absolutely absurd and scandalous decision, and then he withdrew it quickly. But he done the damage, because see the victims in this area and in Francie's area, he's told them to keep your mouth shut, because nobody's going to listen to you. And sadly, that's what is going to happen. Victims will not come out, and victims will find it hard to come out. So that's my history with regard to that. Negative campaigning, that's what raising the issue of child abuse. Hundreds of them in our schools, and that's what it's classed as by some of our Sinn Féin colleagues. Regrets, I have to say, in my 43 years as Republican, I regret very little. And that's not to say that I would not have wished that there was another way to achieve the things. But personally, I once again reiterate my regret, and he's not here tonight, Davy Hyland and his family, with the Republican movement treated him. Again, the steak knife character spun the wheels and the yarns about Davy Hyland, and people followed it, and I sadly did too, and I regret that. And then we had the issue of the killing of Ian Marley, the son of a good friend of mine. And again, steak knife put out the lies, and I was the public mouthpiece, and I spun out those lies, believing they were the truth, and they weren't. They were wrong, and they were shameful. And these people still talk about executed touts. They talk about Jean McConville, while the Republican movement, in fairness to it, talked about it being terrible and a dark part of our history. We have people in that clique down there who still call them executed touts. And that's why I felt that there was no place for my brand of honourable politics within your Sinn Féin. And I just hope it isn't replicated throughout the rest of the district. And other people will verify every single thing that I have said here. So, I say to them, and it's an old song that they use, the higher they build their walls, the taller I become. So I don't care what lies, and they walk out. Shameful. And I can be sure that Mickey, hopefully, will have to answer to Jerry Adams why he walked out. And they talked about the SDLP a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? And they refused to let a man who gave 43 years of his life, a lot of it in prison, to have his last say as a councillor in this chamber. But the people will judge them. So, I do want to thank the council workers. I've enjoyed my role as a councillor. I've actually been able to do a lot of good in my council. I want to thank my councillor colleagues, even though sometimes we didn't agree politically, they helped us to achieve the greater goal, well, it's economic development and all the rest of that. So, on behalf of myself and my family, I would just like to wish you well and hope that you work and don't do what these people know. Shameful. And Charlie threatened me with court about his daughter. It's there on Facebook for everybody to see, and I'll show him the private messages his daughter sent me. So let him take me to court. But sadly, I have to take this council to court because it's breached the decency that I showed this council. So, best of luck to you in your new term, and particularly Jackie, myself and Frank who's retiring. We just slip into the sunset gracefully. Sinead.
Brendan, could I wish you well, not just yourself, but all the other councillors that are leaving, Jackie, Andy, Frank, John, and I'm quite sure Connor, and on behalf of us all, I can tell you, just as you were going through all that, it's not easy being an SDLP councillor sometimes either as well, you know. And you mentioned the DPP there. I was the first one in, and it was difficult at that time. But your term in council has been a long one. You'll never be accused of shying away from what you believe. And I just wish you well on behalf of the SDLP and all our outgoing councillors. It is, in many ways, the end of an era, and it'll be interesting to see how the new super council works out. But good luck.
Sorry, can I just...
Can I wish Brendan all the best to you? And I know that when I was in jail working in the council, they always admired
Brendan, because in the early stages he was the only Sinn Féin representative on the council, him and Jim McAllister, but and he was the first Sinn Féin chairman. But I have to say I was disappointed tonight that because I think all I wanted to do was, if Brendan couldn't bring forward a proposal, and I was only asking and requesting that the new super council look at the situation again in light of all the concerns and protests that there was regarding the people that was working in the pool. And it was only just to look at it. I think all Brendan wanted was to look at it again, and all I was asking was for them to look at it again. And I've taken this opportunity, and I'll do it now publicly if they can. But all they have to do is look at the whole situation again. That's all they have to do. Yeah. Chairman, but just to finally, to wish Brendan and the family, I know the family, I knew his mother and father and all belonged to him all my life. Decent, hard-working people. And I think Brendan will be missed, like the rest of it, like Frank and John and all of our colleagues that's gone tonight. But Brendan would be missed because he was an out fought for the best for Newry and for Newry and Mourne over the years he was there. I wish your best out anyway.
Brendan, just on account of, and I know Henry, you're going to go in there to wish him all the best, right? But I just want to tell you that the SDLP, myself and Gary, have met with the officials, and we actually came up with we asked for a proposed compromise in the new council to accommodate the private lessons, and it was rejected. So I don't want you to think there that we didn't. So
we didn't hear that.
You didn't, but I just want to wish you best of luck. You did teach my kids at one point, so, and we mightn't agree politically, but you're not a bad child after all.
That's a compliment.
For me it is.
Many tonight we had a very, very rough talk in this chamber. Between myself and Councillor Kern. Sometimes it got very, very, very rough. And I seen the other night there, he was accusing me of throwing him into the back of a Land Rover and everything. But the curious thing is, I know exactly where I stand with Brendan Kern. That's been one of the things that has always struck me in this chamber. All the rest of these shinners, you never know where you stand with them. One minute they're smiling at you, the next minute they're growling at you. Kern, and in fairness to him, he's always been the same. He's a Republican. I hate him for that. I hate his politics. But at least I knew exactly where I stood with him. And there's even been times over the last 20 years when I've been in this chamber when there's been glimpses of humanity from him. And I'm thinking on one occasion in particular, whenever this council wanted to stop Kilkeel Hockey Club getting us money, to force them to, this council was forcing them to open it on a Sunday. And lo and behold, who was the councillor who stepped out of it and said, look, this isn't right. If they want to keep it shut on a Sunday, let them do it. It was Councillor Kern. So while I detest his politics, I don't know anything about him personally, but I detest what he's done in the past. He said maybe it was me he was referring to when I called him a shooter and all in the past. And he was that, and he knows that. But at least I know exactly what he was and what he is, and we'll leave it at that now. But when it comes down to politics in this chamber, at least when you know what you're dealing with, then you can work. But when these shinners, you never know from one minute to the next what they are.
I would like to
You're not.
and debates about his politics, which I didn't agree with whatsoever. But because he was always inclined to shout his way into trouble and then to shout his way out of it. But over the years, he became quite an astute politician. He was very hard-working councillor and did an awful lot of good for the area in Newry. And I got to know him quite well, and I wish him well in the future. Though I never agreed to say with his politics, particularly during the years of the bomb and the bullet. But I do wish him and June every success and a long and happy life in the future. Because he always had guts and he always was brave to speak out.
Thank you.
I do think he's a friend, because you say it as it is. I wish you and Jane and your family all the best in the future, and hopefully we keep in contact.
That in writing to myself. There is a procedure that has to be gone through, so if you can drop me an email or something through, then I can put it through. And if I can thank the friend that I have known him since I was in the council in 1984, and I've always been aware that together we get on very well, and we'd be very fortunately honest with each other, and I would wish him and his family all the success for the future.
Destination Newry. We're back in moments.